Gene Bosler here, Fulshear, Texas, southwest of Houston, out at the end of the West Park Tollway. It's sandy, loamy, and there's a lot of pecans. There's also a lot of live oaks. But anyway, it's a little different from the clay out here. I'll show you the soil. Here. Here's the soil. It's still clay. It's still rock hard, but it's darker than what we're used to seeing in Houston. Here's the point of this particular posting. Now is the time to call me out to the property. Call your arborist before you have broken ground, while you are still putting pencil to paper, okay? All right, this allows us to say, okay, here's where we're going to put our root protection zone. These are the trees we're going to preserve. These are the trees that are going to come out. We are going to move this house. Oh, it's going to end up being about 8 feet probably, so that these two trees can be in the backyard. So this is the perfect opportunity. See, no groundbreaking. A couple of trees are going to need to come out. A couple of trees are going to get to stay. And we have to have a plan in place at the very start to minimize the damage to construction. Root invigoration on these 3 key trees here in the front. This nice specimen here. That's going to be tricky because that lower limb that goes off to the left is going to end up real close to the house, and it's probably going to need to come out. So we have to imagine this tree with the lower limbs gone. I'd like to leave the lower limbs intact, but the house is too close. This tree is going to be surrounded by hardscape. It's going to have a 5-foot walking path around it from the driveway to the front door. This tree is going to be in an island between the driveway and aforementioned walking path. So these guys are going to have a hardscape around them. They are really going to be impacted by construction. It would be best if we could do pier and beam installation on the sidewalk. But by all means, we need to do root invigoration on both of these specimens, this one over here. And if we're going to keep the two in the far rear that are going to be behind the house, we should do root invigoration on them too. So, lots of things we can do here to minimize the impact of construction, and it all starts with establishing a root protection zone around all of the trees that are going to be impacted. And of course, ideally, the root protection zone. The ideal root protection zone is, say, 1.5 times the diameter of the drip line. So come back to this tree. This tree is 60 feet across. It goes 30 feet to the left and about 25 feet to the right. It's not quite perfectly symmetrical. So we go 1.5 times that, we establish our root zone. Okay, we don't have quite enough real estate to build the house here with that kind of strictures. So anything less than that will be a compromise, but it doesn't have to be a huge compromise. So we're going to establish our root zones here, here, here. We're going to do it for that tree. We're going to do it for that tree by the fence. We're going to take out that one, and this one. We're going to establish a root protection zone for that one. And then down beyond the hill, we have a reasonable expectation of there being no construction activity at all. This tree is another story. It's pretty compromised. We could prune it, we could nurse it, but I don't want to nickel and dime this customer. These are some really nice pecans he's got. Let's do the best with what we have. He doesn't need to be in a rush to cut this tree down, and we can fertilize it along with the others, but I wouldn't invest a whole lot of money on a tree that's got this much compromise at its base. We might get lucky. We can keep this tree going. But once we prune the dead out of it and see just how unhealthy this tree is, we might not want to invest a whole lot of money in it. So there you go, folks. One last final pan. And so far, I'm putting this down as my favorite tree, and that down as the one that's going to be the one who's best likely to have no impact or least impact to construction. That big mama that's just over the crest. Comments? Feel free to comment or email me. Thank you.